Hey there, this is Missy, and here's a conversation with AI about SIMS4, the developers, the bugs, and exactly what is causing the bugs, and the future of EA and SIMS4, what they're planning to do. And this gives an understanding of exactly why stuff is breaking down, and which explains why the fix that I did yesterday actually worked. This is a current bug that's happening. The toggle that you have to prevent rain or thunderstorms is completely broken, right? So I asked if anyone else had reported this bug, and it says yes, they have reported this. And it says after an update on September 18th, many users report the crafted items. This is another one. You can't sell anything on Plopsy because it's saying that it's ruined by water. To me, that sounds a little suspicious. That sounds like something that was deliberately scripted. Like where can it get the idea that it can't sell something because it's ruined by water? I've never even seen that before, but I can't sell anything on Plopsy, which completely breaks the Nifty Knitting Pack because Plopsy is a huge part of that in the ability to sell things on Plopsy. So your Sims can't make money if they're home employed, which many of mine are. That affects a lot of different crafts and things that they do. Can't sell anything on Plopsy because it's ruined by water. So this affects paintings, knitted items, jewelry, and other things that you can sell on Plopsy. An official response says the issue is known. It'll be fixed on October 2nd. We'll see about that. Okay. So then there's the rain toggle. Yes, many Sims 4 players have reported the toggle is broken. It cannot disable rain and thunderstorms anymore. It's well documented on official and community forums, including posts on EA Answers HQ site. It's causing persistent thunderstorms and rain even after the feature has been turned off in the game options. Why is the disable weather toggle not working? Not that it's not working, but why? Well, let's talk about that. There are several potential causes for this persistent weather bug. I know everybody's like, well, because they keep adding packs. Yeah, right? But let's get into the technical conversation about that. And can they actually prevent these bugs? Do we have to continue to endure these bugs? We're going to have that conversation. Mysterious weather on holidays, game updates, corrupted game files, mods or custom content. Now, if mods are not updated, and I mean on an absolute regular basis, I'm not putting them in my game because you have old mods that are created for older coded parts of the game. And to me, it just makes sense not to use mods unless they're being actively updated. So I am removing all mods that are not updated regularly. What are the possible workarounds? While I'm waiting for an official fix, there's several strategies. Weather control device. If you have the seasons expansion, you can use the weather control device. Now, I haven't tried this, so I don't know if this actually can work. Check and recheck settings. Toggle the settings on and off again. Accompanied by gamer start. Resolve the issue. I will try that and let you know if that helps. Maybe you could try that if you haven't already. Create a new game. To check if the issue is with your game files or a specific save, start a new game with a new sim. If the weather toggle works in the new save, you may need to move your existing saves over to a clean installation, which I don't know how to do that, but that is interesting to see if that would work. So if anybody has tried that, please let me know. The mysterious weather holiday. If the rain is tied to a specific holiday, you may be able to delete or cancel that holiday from your game calendar to remove the weather. Well, it's not my issue. Third-party mods. Some modding tools, such as the UI Cheats extension, allow for the move direct control over weather. This is a solution only for PC players and requires careful maintenance to ensure mod compatibility after updates. And then I talk about how I'm not buying the fairy pack because the broken weather toggle, yeah, I'm not going to trust that they're not going to have a broken elements toggle either. So I'm done. I'm not going to buy the fairy pack because I don't want to deal with toggle. I don't want to deal with elements, period. So that solidified it for me. And anyways, now we're going to talk about how updates break the game. Fundamental code changes every time a new pack is introduced. The development team must also release a free base game update. This update adds the necessary foundational code to support new features even for players who do not buy the pack. But it has unintended side effects because The Sims 4 is over a decade old. Its code base has grown complex and unwieldy. Small changes for one new feature can create unintended side effects in entirely different older parts of the game. Your experience with the ring toggle, core base game feature, being broken by an update is a perfect example of this. Conflicting systems, different packs introduce different gameplay systems. As more of these systems are added, the risk of them conflicting increases. It can cause glitches that may not have existed before. Is the game too old? Many people say yes, it's just too old. Development focus. The development focus on releasing new content sometimes overshadows the need to fix long-standing bugs. Game performance, adding more and more content as they accumulate packs puts a strain on the game's overall performance, leading to longer loading times, no matter what kind of computer you have. Frame rate drops, more frequent crashes, player skepticism, really out the reliability of future toggles, such as I have stated. Recent reports indicate that EA may be changing its strategy, possibly in recognition of these issues. There's a recent article in CBR in September 2025 suggesting that it's officially a new era for The Sims 4 and EA. So instead of constant new content and focusing on improving the current version of the game, if this is true, it may lead to more stability in the future. I doubt that, though. It seems to me EA is trying to get everything they can out of The Sims 4 because its end is nearing. And basically, it says that's an insightful point about its longevity. Your concern about ability to manage the game is a valid one. Coexistent with Project Renee. As you know, the main developer of that, left with other content creators. Yeah. Even though they picked up 15 million new players in 2024 alone. So as of March 2024, there were 85 million players worldwide, right? So let's talk about Project Renee. It allows players to retain their invested content while continuously introducing new purchasable content. This approach relies on the continued engagement and purchasing. But since there's no Sims 5 and he left, okay, they don't say when they're going to have an end date. When's going to be the last pack? How bad is this going to get, right? They don't even. It's going to be years away before Project Renee even comes out. And it says your observation is spot on. The lack of detailed information on Project Renee and the continued stream of new content have raised concerns within the community. There's no final pack or end date for Sims 4, right? So, silence and key departures. The lack of recent updates on Project Renee is a major concern. Grant Rodiak, who was a game director for Project Renee, left in January 2024, and he was followed by other creative directors in August 2024. That's not a good sign. It can signal significant changes or problems in development. Low-key playtesting and leaks. While Maxis continues to share updates through community channels like Behind the Sims, which Maxis is still part of Sims, right? EA basically obtained Sims, but Maxis remains a part of the development. Behind the Sims, much of the recent information has come from early small-scale playtest leaks. The player reaction to these leaks have been mixed. It's like, why don't you just test your stuff before you do, your releases? And some of this frustration could be avoided if they just did that, right? Project Renee is still in early stages development. Years away, guys. Years away. So that means they're going to continue to be putting out more, and they can't even handle what it has already. Making the base game of Sims 4 free was a key part of keeping it going so that they can get new players. A lot of people were angry when they made it free to play, but that's how they brought in a lot of new players because they need that for revenue to keep the income coming. Player-friendly justification. Its approach of not ending is saying that it's so that they don't have to lose all their content. But when they started Sims 2 and then started Sims 3, And then Sims 4, I mean, basically each time they had a new Sims, they had to start over. So I'm not sure that I buy that. But there's clearly no end in sight. That's the bottom line. So let's talk about exactly what happens. What causes the bugs? Okay. To support a new pack, EA releases mandatory update to the base game for all players. This update adds underlying code required for new content to function. So even if you don't own the pack, your game still needs to know how to handle the new content when, for example, a townie with an unknown expansion feature walks by. But the root of many issues is the new code from the base game update conflicts with older existing code. For example, and adding new wet visual effects for fairies could unintentionally break the code that dictates when the sim pulls out, for example, an umbrella, causing them to use it indoors, or breaking the weather toggle, which is exactly what has happened now. The rain and thunderstorms are not able to be stopped. There is some suggestion on how you can try to correct that issue, which I'm going to try, because I did make corrections on my game was completely broken. Couldn't go in, so I moved the mod folder completely, pulled out the old thumb cache files. That has to be done. And then after I did that, go to the EA app and then do a repair via the EA app so that it can scan all your packs and make sure, you know, everything, all your files and whatever you have in your game is, you know, that nothing was affected in your game itself, right? So those 3 steps are extremely important to do. And then I'm not going to be using any mods if they don't regularly update it. If they're not regularly updating it, it's extreme risk to the game. So I'm just not going to be using it. Complex overlapping system. The Sims 4 has grown significantly over the years. The systems don't exist in isolation. They have to interact and react to one another. So over time, what happens is the web of interconnected code becomes difficult to manage it. This increases the risk that change in one system will cause a domino effect of bugs in others. The profit over quality model. A lot of people say, you're just putting out too quick. You should just take time and thoroughly test and debug existing content. I think people should boycott and say, look, if you're not going to do the very minimum to do this step right here before you put out new stuff, we're not going to buy it. And force them, pressure them to take this step. This is just greed. This right here is just greed. To not take the very minimum, this right here, to test and debug the content before you release it, there's just no excuse for that, right? The pressure to deliver on a packed release schedule often means that new updates are rushed out with undiscovered bugs only revealing themselves once millions of players start using the new code. That's unacceptable. That's our part to take action and say, no. Don't pre-order packs until they promise us that they will, at the very minimum, test stuff before they release it. Because otherwise, they'll just keep doing this. It's up to us. It really is. Corrupted saves and cache files. Now, this did help me. This really made a difference to removing the cache files from my EA folder, because the updates can't do this. So some bugs appear to be a consequence of how a new update interacts with the files. And I'm talking about in your Sims folder in your computer. Remove the cache files. The updates, they are not able to do this. You have to manually do this after every update. Okay? Because, and this is why, the older save files can become corrupted after a patch, especially if they have used mods. Additionally, corrupted cache files can sometimes carry bugs through an update and cause new issues. So I would recommend, basically, that's why they always say update your mods, right? But removing the cache files, I removed my entire mod folder, removed the cache file, did the repair through the EA app, and then re-added my mods, deleted the mod through CurseForge app, and then reinstalled each one. That's what I did, and it worked. So broken mods. While bugs can happen in vanilla games, outdated mods are a major cause of post-update issues for many players. So a new update can fundamentally change how a game function works, causing any mod that relies on that function to break. So in many cases, it's up to the mod creator to update their content to be compatible with the new patch. So yeah, if you're a mod user, I would just I'm not using any mod that, if they don't update regularly after every single update, it's not worth the risk. It's just not worth the frustration. There's a lot of mods that are awesome, but they're just old. They haven't been updated in like years, right? They need to be updated regularly, and that's up to the developer. So, anyway, so that's basically what's going on with Sims, and I think that the more they continue to add packs, to me, it's just the fact that they don't even bother to test stuff before they release it is just greed. And it's our fault if we continue to say, okay, I'll buy your pack. And how do we collectively, as sim players, all we have to do is just take a step, go to their Facebook or their Twitter or their whatever platform, forums, and just everybody flood them with, we're not going to buy your pack unless you do the very minimum of testing things before you release it. And you show them. You boycott them. But as long as people keep buying, they're just going to keep doing it. So really and truly, I just say part of it's on us. Because if we don't collectively unite together and say, if you're not going to test it, we're not going to buy it. I think that's pretty reasonable and logical. Anyways, I hope you have a blessed day. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe.